I'm Hannah.
I'm Ant.
And this is Art in the Corridor. We are Ant, Hannah and Mabel the pup. We live and work from our 50-foot narrowboat, the Corridor. Come and join us as we attempt to navigate the English canals and the world as full-time artists. Here we go.
Got butter on my cheek, I got crumbs in my bed, got holes in my shoes, and a home for you and me. Seeing you smile just makes me.
Our car has pretty much become a shed for storage. God, I'd love a garden with a shed. Everybody, all those people out there with garden moorings with sheds, I'm so jealous. It's summer in here, I've got to find a cardboard tube. Mondays, who'd have them? Actually, Sundays are worse for me. Does anybody still have the dreaded fear on Sunday? Because you know you've got to go to school on Monday. Every Monday I'm like, oh, thank God I'm not at school anymore.
Did you hear Antiques Roadshow?
Oh, yeah, worse, if you hear Antiques Roadshow, then you just puts the that feeling in your stomach like, oh, it's school tomorrow. 42, still got the dread. Anyone else? So it's actually your birthday.
It's my birthday today.
Happy birthday, Anthony.
I stopped having birthdays when I hit 40, so let's just scratch it. Don't worry about it. Okay, so that's that.
So what's on this week's episode?
We're going to be brave this week and try and do something a bit bold.
Right.
We're going to teach you how
Teach?
to be...
Or discuss?
We're going to discuss how to become a full-time artist.
That's pretty bold.
It is pretty bold because, let's be fair, I mean, I've been doing printmaking 4 years now, and that's quite good. You know, 4 whole years of just living off making prints.
Yeah.
That's you know, I'm really proud of that. And there was a few steps that we took to sort of get where we are.
Yeah, and we're just gonna draw on past experience.
Yeah, so it's based on our own experience. It's not like a definitive guide on how to become a full-time artist, but so we're just going to sort of share our experience and tips, and hopefully we can inspire some people to take the plunge.
Take the plunge. Step 1, it's your art.
So for me, it was always just illustration, really, just drawing pictures with a pen and that kind of thing. And then when I come across linoprinting, I thought, oh yeah, I can try that, you know, because I like illustrating and stuff. And through that medium, I've sort of developed a style. And I suppose that's an important point, really. If you're sort of a craft maker, a painter, you know, you're drawing pictures, whatever, you really need to sort of try and develop your own style. And I suppose that's a bit of a tip. Like, if you've got a style or a niche, then you can start targeting an audience with that. And then you can sort of develop from there, really.
And trust it. So trust that it's your style. So my style is quite childlike, and I'm not like Anthony. If he told me to draw a horse, I couldn't just draw a horse. But I might draw a funny looking horse that sits within a picture in my style.
Yeah, again, it's because you have this real, like, what's the best way to describe it? It's like sort of a children's book illustration style, but it's your style, and it's recognisable as your style.
So whatever works for you, go with it and trust it. Found?
Old art stuff from a long time ago.
Wow! So you can see your style, but it's like you've developed it.
Yeah.
That's the thing, isn't it? You don't stop developing your style. You don't get to a point where you're like, right, that's it, I've done it. The minute you do that, the minute is when you get bored and you go stagnant. Keep exploring. Oh, what's that?
I don't know what that one is. This is an old sketchbook we found.
It's in the back of the wardrobe, which we can't actually get to. Did I do that?
You done that, yep.
That's weird, isn't it? Did I do that one too?
Yep.
That's weird.
And a note that says leak coming from under the cupboards, we think.
That must have been when we were on the boat. Look at hands. Hands are hard to do.
They are.
That's
when
a
did
good
I draw
hand.
that?
2007. Whoa. It's quite funny, isn't it? Because your hand, this is probably your hand.
Yeah, because it's a right hand.
Is it the hand that's gone funny?
Yeah.
So just to say, if you see Anthony's hand doing this,
It looks like I'm doing this English tea drinking thing. I've developed a bad hand.
that's the technical name.
I've been to a
for it.
physiotherapist.
He told you that you had a lazy hand.
It's this finger points down,
And
and
it
this one
won't
tries
go
to
up.
overcompensate and goes up.
Yeah.
So basically, the hand's weird.
Yeah, we'll sort it. 1, 2, 3. Ha ha! I win.
Oh, one, that's paper.
That's not paper, that's scissors.
That's my gammy hand. So this sort of shows a bit of a development, doesn't it? Because that was my first ever linoprint.
Television heads. There was a lot of them, wasn't there?
Yeah, and then I started doing colour prints, and they sort of looked a little bit more like that, which I still really like those. And then one of my most recent ones, you can see a real development, but you can still sort of see,
Your style.
yeah.
Step 2. Find your audience.
So, building your audience. Technically, we probably live in the most simple time for building an audience because we have social media. So, from my experience, I was making Narrowboat linoprints because we're part of the Narrowboat community and we're members of Narrowboat groups. I could then post those pictures on various Narrowboat groups, and I kept receiving messages from people saying, "Oh, I'd love to buy a copy of that linoprint." So it sort of sparked this idea in my head, like, oh yeah, I can make some money from this. And people would message me on my inbox, and then I'd have to get their address and everything and sort of send them the prints. But then I thought, right, set up my own dedicated Facebook page, Ant Savage Art, which is what I'd done. And then, I'd share my pictures as I made them. Hopefully people would buy them, not always. But that's a good tip, I suppose, isn't it? It's like tap into groups. Once you've found
your demographic.
yeah, you've sort of found what you're doing, and you can tap into these groups and try and build an audience. Social media is a brilliant way to do that.
With that being said, you don't want to exhaust your audience. You want it to grow and change. It grows and changes all the time. So branch out into different areas where you might find places where people like what you're doing.
That's actually a really good point, because you remember we went through that stage where I'd had a bit of success with a few boaty prints. I'd sold a load and we were thinking this is really working well. So then I just kept trying to do boaty prints and I kept putting them on the groups and nothing was happening. And we sort of worked out that people are probably sick to death of seeing these boaty pictures. So yeah, occasionally I'd sort of branch into different subject matter. And yeah, just keep your style, but keep it fresh. And I've never said keep anything fresh.
Keep it fresh. Brings up another thought for me, because what you can tend to do is just make things because you think they're going to sell, but the problem with that is your heart's not in it and you almost become like a factory worker, and actually it doesn't work. So the magic lies in the process. So you've got to want to make what you're making. Don't just make it because you think that's going to sell, or find the balance.
Yeah, that's a good point actually, because I suppose a good example of that is I sort of developed what I was doing a little bit, and I started doing coloured prints, and I made this picture called Aqueducts, and we'll put it up, and it was it took me by surprise, to be honest. It just came together really well, and it was just it wasn't all planned, it just came together. It looked beautiful. I was really proud of it, and I shared the post, and it was my first sellout picture. Like, it just went like within an hour or something, and we were just like, yes, oh my god, can't believe it. So then I thought to myself, I'll do another one called Aqueducts 2, and I'll slightly change it, and you know, the next day I'll get another sellout. Didn't work. The colours had changed, it's not the same image. I was just trying to build on something that was successful, and it didn't work, and I've pretty much still got them all left. And then there was another time we was just out on the boat, do you remember? And I was trying to think of something to do. We were in the middle of nowhere. We really wanted fish and chips.
Oh yeah.
And there was no chippy around. And I just said, I'm going to make a linoprint of a chip shop. And it was just like a whim. And I drew the picture, carved it the same evening, and that sold out. And then it was just took us by surprise. But that was just, it really was just coming from me. I just wanted to do that picture. I wasn't trying to target an audience or anything. And it just sold. And we thought, yeah, it's just people love a chip shop. People, I don't know.
It's because the magic is in the process, and it only exists in that moment. You can't recreate it.
And you can't beat cod and chips.
You can't beat cod and chips. Day.
Yeah, I've done this picture. I like it.
Oh, that's cool.
There's something I like about it, but I don't know what I can do with it really.
It's got some nice movement in it.
Yeah.
What were you saying a minute ago though? You said the very thing that we were talking about.
What, that is something that I like, but I don't think it would be sellable.
Yeah. But you just never know, do you? And you should just make it anyway.
Yeah.
Because you've sketched it.
Yeah.
It's in the moment and you like it. Explore it. Point 3. All the gear, no idea. So I think if you can make stuff on the bare minimum, then it's going to set you up better anyway. If you spend loads of money on all these fancy gadgets and all the rest of it, you're then going to have to try and cover the cost of that. And right at the beginning, it's just going to make you feel really stressed and pressured. And actually, it doesn't help anything. If you can make something with nothing, then you're already a step ahead. And often uses a spoon. I'm not sure that everybody uses a spoon for printmaking.
I think a lot of people do, but yeah, for just hand pressing. But it's a really good example. So these are my cutting tools, and if you make prints, you've probably seen these. These are Swiss-made file tools, and they're like precision-made little gouges. This set is like well over £100. That's an expensive set of tools. Well, when I started printmaking, so if anyone that's got any of my earlier prints, you know, they're still, you know, just as nice as some of the ones I do recently. Well, this is what I started with. I bought this from Hobbycraft. It's quite unbelievable, actually. So this is supposed to be for pressing your prints, and in here you've just got these little nibs, and they just attach one way or another. I haven't used this for years. And you'd carve with this. This was something like £6, and I made so many good lino prints with this. So just, you know, I have stepped up to some better tools, but there's no like.
Yeah.
It's
you
not,
still haven't got a printing press.
No, I don't own a printing press.
Which are hundreds of pounds.
And you know, I'm on loads of print groups, and I see it all the time. People decide they want to start lino printing. They go out, they buy the file tools, a printing press, all the inks, which are like £12–15 a tube, and a few weeks later you'll see on the same group lino prints set up for sale because they've just rushed in and bought all this expensive stuff.
Yeah. And
then they thought, well, I can't actually do much with it.
Find your way first.
Find your way, yeah. Just develop your craft first.
Yeah. Point 4, find your selling platform.
So you've chosen your style of art, you've been working on that, you've built up a bit of a following on social media, and you've been sharing your work to as many people as you can, and then you need a platform to sell it. So it can be all different forms, really. You can sell directly through Facebook. That I started like that, and it just got a bit of a pain writing down names and that kind of thing and messaging everyone. So I thought I'll try one of the online platforms. So I went with Etsy to begin with, and Etsy's really good, but the fees were really high. And as I started to sell more, I was paying more and more fees. So I decided to set up my own web page. And the good thing about that is you can personalise it a bit more. You can put background info and just that sort of thing, really. So yeah, I went for my own website. And then the beauty of that is when you share new stuff on your social media, you can just put your own link in, direct everyone to your site. But there's so many different avenues as well. A lot of people do sort of craft fairs. Hannah, you started off doing sort of crafty fair stuff, didn't you?
I did craft fairs.
Yeah, we've done trading. We've been out on the boat trading directly to people, which is really lovely. And, you know, different things work for different people. So, yeah, find a platform.
The good thing about Etsy at the very beginning is that it's already got its own footfall. So you realise that after a while, most of your footfall from Etsy was coming from Facebook.
Yeah.
So you could then create your own website, and then you can direct people from Facebook to your website.
Yeah.
But if you're starting out and you haven't built kind of that audience yet, Etsy is a good place because it's got a footfall, so to speak. You know, there's lots of people walking past and coming in and out of different shops.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh. Point 5. Be prepared for an inconsistent or fluctuating income.
Yeah, that's quite a big one really, isn't it?
It's something I was always used to, but it's something that took you a long time to get used to.
Yeah.
Possibly still getting used to it.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Yeah, so what we mean by that is, so for example, I used to be a painter and decorator, and I mean, being a self-employed tradesman, you know, you might have X amount of months of work and then you have a bit of a gap, but making your money as a full-time artist is, yeah, it's not easy.
It's a different ball game.
It is a different ball game. So, you know, we sort of spoke about, on the odd occasion, I'll have a print that sells out, and that's fantastic, you know, we're always over the moon, but the following week, we might not sell anything, and we're pretty much broke for that week, so you really have to budget well, don't you, and be careful.
Yeah. I come from a dancing background, so I've always been in the arts, and I mean, you don't get into dance if you're interested in making lots of money. It's a labour of love. You often don't get paid on time. You might have 6 months work and then you might have a month off, and you just have to, like, yeah, budget.
Roll with it, yeah.
And roll with it.
Yeah.
And trust that something's going to happen. The sun behind me. Whew, it's a bit chilly today. It's quite fresh,
Yeah.
wouldn't you say?
It is a bit fresh, yeah.
And these sheep, it's really weird when you walk through the sheep field because they just stop and look at you like that.
Yeah, and it's like a pick and mix of poo for Mabel.
It is. It's gross.
This is Hannah's way of getting Mabel back.
Emergency recall. Yay! Get down! Don't go running after rabbits. Don't go running after rabbits. Well done. Come on in. Point 6. Don't give up your day job. Just yet.
So this video is how to be a full-time artist, and we've just said don't give up your day job, which is probably a good bit of advice, to be honest, because what we were trying to say on this video is through the use of social media and a lot of hard work and commitment, you can make a living doing a craft or art and that kind of thing. But our recommendation would be
wait until you're ready.
Wait until you think you're ready to do it, because we're fortunate, aren't we?
We live on the boat.
Yeah, so we don't have like...
Well, we have different outgoings to our house, and we still do have some big outgoings, especially when things go wrong. We've just had an engineer around now because we're having some issues on the back, and we're going to have to pay out
a lot of money,
probably quite a lot of money.
Yeah.
But everything else is more, you're more in control of.
We're sort of a pay-as-you-go lifestyle, aren't we?
And we wouldn't be able to do it, what we're doing, I don't think,
No.
if we were still renting.
No, if we were paying council tax, rent and bills, we'd really struggle. So,
And I used to be dancing when we were renting, and
Yeah.
you were decorating,
yeah,
and we struggled even then.
yeah. So this sort of lifestyle has sort of allowed us to take the plunge. But it is doable, especially now with social media. It really is doable. It just takes a lot of commitment, really practice what you're doing, and you can do it.
Yeah,
It's
you
doable.
You can. And the most important thing is that you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching. That's about it for today. Congratulations if you've made it all the way to the end. We've actually got a question though, haven't we? For other people.
Yeah.
So if you are making a living from art, have you got any tips for us?
Yeah.
Because we are still learning.
We are, yeah. Like something I've been thinking about a lot, and we keep trying to look into, is people always say, "Oh, you want a what do they call it? Like a passive income from your art." So
Yeah.
maybe you're selling it elsewhere as cards for a company or just anything like that. Like, how can we expand on what we're doing?
How do you get your cards into like little independent shops? Do you literally just walk around with your cards? See, this is what we would have probably done in the 90s.
Yeah.
Just taken the cards in and said, do you like my cards? Would you like to sell them?
But just other things like things on tea towels or,
Yeah.
you know, like what else could we do? Like any tips would be great.
Yeah. Yeah, please. Don't forget to like and subscribe and push the notification bell, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.